Go. Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our weekly DVMUG meeting. Today's April the 23rd. I'm Bruce, and it's my turn to present today. Today we, as always, start with announcements, followed by news and videos. And right after that, Rick's gonna present. Before I start showing videos, Rick's going to present his device that he's purchased, and after that, we'll start viewing videos. At the end of news, or at, at the end of news, I have one little item has to do with dialing 911 when there is no cell signal, or you are in a place where your provider doesn't exist. Anyway, the links to this, the videos and the news are on the BBS, and John also posted it in a chat, in a Zoom chat. You can either go over there or copy your Zoom chat and get it from over there. It's the same thing. If you don't have our BBS login and password, John is the person for you to go to, and he'll set you up, and you'll be able to enjoy everything that we put up there. This is also a reminder, this meeting is being recorded, and we'll end right after the presentation and restart later on.
Excuse me,
So
is it just me, or is the email that we got with the topics is different than what this screen says, or is it just me?
no, it should be the same.
Oh, okay, I'll be darned. The one I got is different. Oh, well, for 4/23/24.
No, it is. I believe it is different. There was one in the post on the BBS.
Oh, crap. It is different. It's last week's. I didn't change it.
Yeah, I thought it sounded familiar.
We both, Bruce did the same damn thing to his list on the BBS. I could resend it, but it really don't make any difference at this
Yeah, it
point.
doesn't matter. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page.
Oh, that's me.
Why don't you stop recording and start it again, John?
No, go ahead. Just go.
Makes us look like dorks on YouTube, though.
We are a bunch of dorks. Continue. After all this, dates are being discussed here. Let's start with the news. So the first thing I always put up there is a reminder to update. If you're on your phone or your iPad or your Mac, if you see an update or there is a little red number on the settings, that means you have to update. You should update, or you should update as soon as possible. So update, update, update. Just reminding people to do that. So just update, and you'll be up to date and won't have any problems, or at least not strange problems we run into. So here, happy news. Yippee. It says a 12.9-inch iPad Air might boost a beautiful mini LED display. What they're talking about over here is that new iPad that might come out before it had an LED display, meaning they're larger than the mini LED display. As a result, the mini LED display, or LEDs, there's like thousands of them to an inch, make the screen look a lot sharper and a lot more vivid and pleasing to the eye. So for those of you on the market out there looking for an iPad, this is the one to look for. And the next is We
This
don't,
morning, if you haven't read the BBS or noticed, 2 weeks from today at 7 a.m. in the morning, Apple announced an event. So that is almost for sure going to be new iPads.
there we go. So for those of you looking for a new iPad, like I have my sister, matter of fact, is looking for a new one. I guess she's gonna end up with that. Anyway,
If she waits.
yeah, the old one, I guess.
Yeah.
But the People's Republic of China government had asked Apple to pull all Microsoft, I'm sorry, Facebook apps off in out of their app store. So they can't purchase, anybody in China cannot purchase WhatsApp or Threads. And they're claiming that this is a cybersecurity problem of in other words, they're doing this tit for tat, so to speak. If we block something, they retaliate with something else. And this is just one example of that. And the next one is, again, big trouble from China. Because the government again over there forbid people working for the government to use Apple products. Apple iPhones mainly took a big hit, and demand has dropped, and it's being replaced by their own, which is Huawei and Xiaomi. And again, that's because recently Huawei has come up with a new chip that's a couple of years behind us, and they're putting out and matching our own phones, matter of fact, with as many apps as they can possibly cram onto their phones. So because of that, people are turning over to their own equipment instead of buying Apple. So much for that. We're just going to have to see what happens. Next, we have some what I mentioned, noteworthy news, and that has to do with no cell signal, no problem in an emergency. In other words, if you find yourself someplace where you have no bars indicating that you have any signal, or you find yourself with some foreign phone or phone that has not even been registered, doesn't have a provider or anything like that, there is a federal FCC regulation that all phones are made to be able to use all towers. It doesn't matter who your provider is. If you're calling 911, any tower near you will answer, and we'll put the call through. The only thing to know about that is that at that point, they will not be able to find out exactly where you're at. So you have to provide them with as much information as you can in order so they can find you or find your emergency and rescue you. Outside of that, your phone, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's got a battery in it, you can turn it on, you can make a 911 call. And with that,
I have a
let's
question about that. It's if you have no cell signal, you have no signal.
well, what they really mean is that if you don't have cell signal from your own provider, in other words, if you're at AT&T and you go someplace in the middle of the desert with AT&T is not that much visible, and T-Mobile or Verizon is, it will use T-Mobile's or Verizon's towers. Although it's not going to show on your phone that you have any signal because your provider doesn't have any towers in the area, but it will make that 911 call. That's why if you read into this story, that's why we pay 911 call emergency. We are charged 911 emergency call for emergencies, even on our landlines. So that's a good thing to know, just in case you do find yourself out there saying, well, you know, you need a, oh, I'm sorry. You need to make a 911 call, but you have a problem as far as cell signals are concerned. So from this, let's go on and see
Rick, let's
Gary's
get
video.
Rick. Rick wants to show us something before we start the video.
Oh, that's right. Forgive me, I forgot. Go ahead,
you,
Rick, and show us your.
you stop your share and Rick will share.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I really need to share because I can just show it.
Oh,
But given the fact that the first video on the schedule today is how to use your watch to to control your cell phone camera, I wanted to share this little guy that I purchased for a trip we took recently. And this is called the Sensign G72 selfie stick. But I was so impressed with this thing. It's not only a selfie stick that goes out for 72 inches and holds the phone up here and goes all the way up here like so, but it also is a lovely tripod so that it can stand up. You're not seeing too much. I'll lower this thing. It can stand up, but wait, there's more. If you don't have a watch to control your camera, it comes with this little guy, which is a remote control that works by Bluetooth with your phone. This works with just about anything. It's quite well made. It's very sturdy, but it's light. And that slap sound that you heard was the tripod collapsing when I put it away. And it folds down into a nice carryable little packet. So it's really quite nice. And it's at Amazon now for 25 bucks. So I was very impressed with this. And if you are going to be using your phone remotely and you don't have a watch to control it, this comes with that little remote control. But it works perfectly with your watch as well. And of course, the watch is better because you can see the screen that your telephone is seeing. So anyway, that's all. It's the G72 selfie stick. It's 1.8 meters or 72 inches.
Feet.
Your question?
Yeah, Jan has her hand up. Go ahead, Jan.
Oh, I just want, can you see the picture on your watch? Is that how you, otherwise how?
Yeah,
would you-
oh yeah.
Yeah,
when
he's
you're
gonna
using
show
your
that in the
watch,
first
you see
video.
what the camera is seeing. You'll see that on the video. But anyway, that's all. G72 selfie stick. It's 25 bucks on Amazon this week. I paid 28.
So Rick, does the phone holder screw off the end of it so you could maybe put a handle on
Yes.
there to use as
Yes.
a
It
to use
comes
as a
off,
walking stick,
and you
maybe?
can hold it sideways, or you can set it up vertically, or you can put a regular camera on it too.
Cool.
This is and it's spring loaded so that it holds the phone firmly in rubber jaws.
Or
So
maybe you could put a handle on there or a knob or something and use it as a walking stick on your trip.
no, I don't think so. I don't think, yeah, because it's plastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you could do that. But it's quite well made, and I really recommend it.
How do you plan on carrying it?
I'll probably carry it. I'll affix it some way or other to my belt. I'll take a shoelace or something and make a loop out of it and put it on my belt.
Does it have a place you can hook a carabiner where you can hook it on your belt?
Yeah, probably. I'd have to tie something around this part, I think, to have a little carabiner on there, which would work. I got a box full of those things out in the garage.
Or a place where you put something on it like a shoulder strap?
That too, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty nice. It's really, really sturdy. And it when it's extended to 72 inches, it doesn't weave back and forth. It's quite rigid. So that's all. I just wanted to show that. So I'm going to leave now.
Okay.
Away we
Share your
go.
screen.
We're going to look forward to seeing some fantastic pictures from your next trip.
Bruce, ready to share? Bruce, are you sharing again?
I am.
Okay.
Oops. Where are we at? So are we looking at my screen?
Nope,
No, we're not.
no share.
Whoa.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com.
You're not
So-
screen sharing yet.
And the sound is wrong.
All right, what, so. Okay, let's try this again. Two.
Okay.
Okay, let's see about customizing the new Finder window.
Is this the first video? I thought that was going to be about the watch.
This is the first video I got.
Okay. The watch one is later.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let me show you how you can set the starting location for any Finder window to something useful. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now in the Finder, when you go to open a new Finder window, it's going to open to a particular location. Every time you open a new Finder window, it's going to open up to that location. The setting for that is in Finder Settings, and if you look in General, you'll see New Finder Windows Show. So you can set this to a variety of things. Let's go through them. The first two are top level areas. If you set it to your Mac, then when you create a new Finder window, it's going to go to the top level and you'll see things like the different drives you've got and a way to access drives that are on the network. This could be useful if you're used to starting there at the top level, having to go down. Maybe you have lots of external drives. Maybe you've got network locations and you just want to start here. But it's not for everyone. It's even more unlikely that you want to use the Macintosh hard drive level. This of course will be named differently depending upon your hard drive. But you can see here if I go there, I'm starting at the top level. And going to System or the System Library, that's not very useful. If you're going to go to Applications, you're probably just going to use Launchpad or Spotlight to launch an app. And if you want to go to your files, you're going to have to dig down into Users and then into your Home folder there. So I wouldn't recommend that really for anybody. The next set gives you a lot of really useful places. One is your Home folder. So if you set it to your Home folder, which is the name of your account, Then when you create a new Finder window, it will go to the top level of your home folder, which usually has things like, say, your movies, music, and pictures folders. And if you're not using iCloud Drive, you'll see desktop and documents here as well. But if you are using iCloud Drive, it's not nearly as useful, as you most likely have most of your files in your documents folder, and that's not going to be here. Now, instead, you can actually set the starting location to be desktop or documents. The desktop is somewhere I don't recommend you storing any files except maybe temporarily. Otherwise it creates lots of clutter on the desktop. Plus you would have access to the files right here on your desktop anyway. Documents folder, this is probably one of the best places to start, and it's what I use. When you do this, it goes straight to your Documents folder. And it doesn't matter if your Documents folder is in your Home folder, or in my case it's an iCloud Drive. It's going to go there. And since I like to organize everything in the Documents folder inside of subfolders that make sense, this is a great starting point for most people. However, you could also set it to iCloud Drive. And this is a great starting point, especially if you've got desktop and documents in iCloud Drive. Then you start here at this level. Desktop and documents are right here, but you also have access to other folders you've created at the top level of iCloud Drive or that apps have created there. So a lot of times apps like to create a folder here at the top level to allow it to sync all of the documents and settings across all of your Apple devices. And depending upon how you use your Mac and which apps you use, you may find a lot of useful locations right here. And if Documents is the main place you want to go, well, it's just one more click away. Now, there's also Recents. So Recents is not a location, but it's what's called a smart folder or saved search. When you open a new Finder window to Recents, you're going to get a view of all of your most recently opened files. And they're going to be automatically sorted by the last opened at the top. So these are files from all over your home folder that you've recently opened. And it's going to include tons of files, and it's a great way to just get back to that file that you were just working on earlier that day or yesterday, because most likely that will be near the top of the list. It doesn't help you organize though, because these are in all sorts of different locations. As a matter of fact, in Recents, if you go to View and then Show Path Bar, you can see the path for each of these files and find that they're all in different places. So it's a great place to go to quickly open a file, but using Recents too much can really hurt you in the long run because you're not taking the time to learn where your files go, or taking the time to learn where you've placed them. But it's still pretty useful. And you can always use the sidebar here and the Go menu to jump to other places. So as the starting location for a new Finder window, it could be ideal for a lot of Mac users. Now a lot of times people like to have something different than their Recents folder as a place they go to. They like to create their own smart folder. So if I go and create a new Finder window here, let's go to the Documents folder, and let's say I want to find all my Keynote presentations. Maybe that's a place where I always want to start because my main job is creating Keynote presentations. So I'll do Command F to find here. Do kind is other and look for Keynote, and this will show me all my Keynote presentations stored in the Documents folder because that's where I've started. I'll save that. And by default it will save to saved searches. And then I can easily access this saved search or smart folder as it's usually called anytime I want. Matter of fact, I can have it added to the sidebar for easy access. Now unfortunately you cannot assign a saved search or smart folder to this Finder setting here. You can't add it. Even though you can choose other, you cannot select a smart folder as your other location. But you can do the next best thing, which is to save it to a location with many smart folders in it. So I've got such a location here as an example. I've just named it Smart Folders and put it in my Documents folder. And I'm going to call this Keynote Documents. And now if I go to my Documents folder and I look in Smart Folders, there are all these smart folders. And if I double click on one, it takes me right to the results of that saved search. I can add this folder because it's a regular folder here under Other. So now I could go to my Documents folder. I could find Smart Folders right there and I can choose it as the location. So now when I open a new Finder window, it goes right here. If I had set this to columns, then it works rather nicely. Let's go and try it again now that I have it set to columns. And you can see I can simply click one of these and see the folders inside it. So it does take one additional click to jump into your own personal smart folder, but You can use that to your advantage by having several smart folders. Maybe one with all recent documents, maybe one with certain types of documents, or ones that have certain tags applied to them, or ones that have something in the name. You can create whatever smart folders you want, put them in some folder like this, and use that as your starting location for new Finder windows. And finally, of course, you can also use the Other to select any other folder you want. So, for instance, here in the Documents folder, let's say this Business folder, that's the main thing. That's where I live. That's where I spend all of my time. So I can choose that. And now, anytime I create a new Finder window, it goes directly to the Business folder. I'm still only a click away from other locations, but this is just the most convenient location for me to start. And also I want to add that this not only gives you the starting location for a new Finder window, but also for a new tab. So say I'm here and I want to create a new tab in the Finder. I would usually use Command T for that, but I use the menu here. You can see how it starts at that location. So it's not just new Finder windows, it's also new Finder tabs. So take a few minutes to look at your Finder settings and figure out what the ideal starting location is for a new Finder window show to optimize your productivity on your Mac. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching.
There, any questions now that we heard this guy rattle off through a whole bunch of stuff? I guess we can help ourselves by using these smart folders and not be looking all over the place for whatever we save. So,
Yeah, that video wasn't on your list.
you know, this is the list. This is the list that I have.
The
Well,
list that went
oh.
out this morning at 11 o'clock was last week's list. That was my mistake.
Yeah, but the list
list-
today is how to use your Apple Watch as a viewfinder, how to reset an Apple ID, how to find out what devices.
Where are you viewing this?
I got this from the
It was sent to me via email today.
yeah.
The 11 o'clock email today, this morning, was wrong. It was last week's.
I reposted those at about 2
Yes,
or
that was
something because they were pointing to the
Oh.
wrong.
Well, that's why I wanted to show that stick. I thought it was relevant. Sorry, I
We
wasted
did
it.
that last week. So the email that I sent out
Was the
this
last-
morning was wrong. It was last week's list. I didn't replace it.
Got it. Okay.
I apologize for that.
No, that wasn't,
thanks to
that was
John, I
a different
reposted-
issue. The list that was posted earlier on the BBS had the wrong links, but that's been fixed.
Right.
We'll continue.
So the next one we have is 4 quick and easy ways to save text messages. Ellen's gonna explain everything we can possibly want to know about saving the messages forever.
Welcome back to Ellen's Tips for iOS. In today's video, we'll be discussing various methods to save and print text messages from your iPhone. So if you have important messages you never want to lose, whether for personal, professional, or legal reasons, stay tuned. And if you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Let's get started. The simplest way to save text messages is taking screenshots of them. And since there's more than one method to take a screenshot, let's go over those steps first. So to take a screenshot, the classic way to do it is by pushing on the power button or side button and the volume up button at the same time. And if I do that, you'll see that a screenshot has been taken. If I tap on it, I can edit it and do whatever I want to do. If I tap on done, it's going to ask me where I want to save it. And for right now, I'm just going to say save it to photos. So that's the first method. The second method is to come in to the Settings app, scroll down and tap on Accessibility, tap on Touch, scroll to the bottom of the page and select Back Tap. You'll have 2 options here. If your phone allows for back tap, you'll see either a double tap or a triple tap. Well, I have my triple tap set up for the magnifier, so I'm going to go ahead and tap double tap. I'm going to locate screenshot. And now, when I double tap on the back of my device, a screenshot will be taken. If I just swipe that screenshot away, it automatically goes into your Photos app. Now let's come into the text message area and choose the text where you want to screenshot some of the messages that you have there. And we'll go ahead, and I'm just using a sample text message for right now. So a great reason to screenshot some messages is because it shows the timestamps. You can see exactly when those messages were sent or received. So I'm going to go ahead and screenshot a couple of messages. And if I just swipe them away, they will go into the Photos app. So let's just do a couple of more. And one more. And so once you've taken all the necessary screenshots, there's an easy way to print them. Once you've taken all the necessary screenshots of the messages that you want to save, we'll want to come out of the text messaging app and come into Photos. And so tap on Select in the upper right corner. Now select the photos that you want to print. Tap on the share icon in the bottom left corner. Tap on print. Adjust the settings, to whatever you need them to be. Make sure that your printer is highlighted, and then go ahead and tap on print, and then you'll be able to have a hard copy of those messages that you saved. Now, if you want an easier method so that your screenshots don't get lost inside the photo library, you can convert them into PDFs, merge them into a single file, and then print them. So we already have taken our photos. We know that they're located in the Photos app. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the Photos app. We're going to tap Select in the upper right corner. We're going to select some of the text messages that we screenshotted. Now we're going to select the share icon, but this time, instead of printing, we're going to come down and we're going to choose Save to Files. And once we do that, we want to put these in a folder so that we don't lose them. So I'm going to tap on back in the upper left corner, and I'm going to go back one more time, and I'm going to choose iCloud Drive, and I'm going to tap on the three circles, the circle with the three dots in the upper right corner, and I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call this folder Text. And now I'm going to tap on Save because we want to save that folder. And the folder is empty, but you can see that we still have our 5 text messages saved there. I'm going to now tap on Save again. And now those text message screenshots should be saved to the file folder. So we'll swipe out of here and we will come in to the Files app. We'll open the Files app. Let's go ahead and search for text so that we can get that folder to come up. There it is. I'm going to tap on that to open it. And you're going to see all of the text messages that we saved. Tap on the circle with the 3 dots. Tap on Select. Go ahead and select those. Now you'll tap on the circle with 3 dots down in the lower right corner. And now we're going to choose Create PDF. Once I do that, it's going to create a PDF, and it should put it right here in the very front, although you can see it has the same name as one of the other images. But I'm just going to click on this and it should open it, and you'll see that all of the messages have been combined into one PDF. And so at this point, I can go ahead and tap on the share icon. I can scroll down, I can tap on print, and now we have a PDF file that was created, and we can print that file out and save our text messages. Another easy method to save your text messages is to screen record them, and it's easy to do, although you won't be able to print them out. But to screen record your messages, swipe down from the upper right corner of your screen to come into the control center, tap on the record button right here. You'll see that you'll get a countdown come out of the control center, and now just slowly scroll through the messages that you want to save. And when you're finished, all you need to do is go ahead and tap on the little red dot in the upper left corner, tap on the circle with the square. Your screen recording has now been saved to your Photos app. The last method of saving a text message is by sending them to another number. And this method is useful if you're looking to keep a record of the conversation but don't necessarily need the timestamps of the messages. And to do it this way, you come into the text messaging area, push and hold on any message that you want to forward on, select more, and now go ahead and select any of the messages. So let's go ahead and select any of the messages that I want to forward to another number. And once I do, I'll tap on the forward icon in the bottom right corner, and you'll see that those messages, but they have no timestamp. So I'm not really sure if you can tell if they're relevant or not, but then you would just put in another phone number. So maybe you're sending this to somebody else for them to have a record, and then you would tap on send. There are even some third-party apps that you might find on the App Store. Just go in and search for Save Text Messages, although most of them are paid-for apps. And while there might not be a straightforward save or print button in the iPhone Messages app, there are several ways to save and print your text messages. You can take screenshots, convert them to PDFs, use third-party apps, screen record, or even forward them to another number. Whether it's for personal, professional, or legal reasons, you now have a range of options to ensure that your important text messages are safely stored and easily accessible. Choose the method that best suits your needs and preferences. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more useful tips. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
So there we go. Now we know we can save these things forever, I guess. So any questions or comments?
Yeah, let's hope that the next operating system makes these things a little more accessible for people.
I got a comment. I
Go for
really
it.
I don't really like this method because it's all pictures. There's no text. You can't search them and find them again. They're like taking, it's like a fax. You can't deal with the text inside of them. That's not, to me, that doesn't work. You want to know the contents and have them findable on your computer, and that's what matters. So people do this all the time with text messages. Don't send important stuff in text messages that you think you want to save later for historical purposes. It's not a good place to do it.
Well, one thing she didn't put out there, you can save them in notes too, correct?
Exactly. You want to save it out as text so you can edit it and name it and find it and
I didn't understand
catalog it.
all that PDF stuff when it's like you can just set it in notes and it's right over there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't, the whole picture thing doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there are people out there that save everything, and whatever they can, quickest way they can think of saving it, just saving it. I recently had to deal with a family that ran out of space on iCloud. And we went and looked, and sure enough, it was pictures, a whole bunch of pictures and everything. And I started asking, well, I mean, what kind of pictures are you seeing? Well, pictures of everything, including screenshots and everything else. Well, so there we go with 99 cents to give you more space from Apple, and that resolved that problem. Anybody else? And so next we'll have, and according to this new list now, this is not what you saw, Rick, how to sort files in a Finder on a Mac.
The new list is in the chat if you want it, the correct list.
Yes.
Zoom chat.
So here we go. Gary's going to explain this one.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let's take a look at sorting in the Finder. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 2,000 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So when you're looking at files in the Finder, it's very common to want to sort them so you can easily find things. Now, before you sort, you should note which Finder view you're using, because of course sorting is going to look very different in each view. You've got icon view, list view, column view, and gallery view. But if you're sorting, you probably want list view. So we'll start there, but we'll take a brief look at the other views as well. So when you're in list view, everything is in columns, and you see the column titles at the top. In this case, we've got name, date modified, size, and kind. You could adjust the column widths by grabbing the line right there like that. And you can even move them around. So I can move size to the left here to be in front of date modified if I want. Now to sort, you can go to view and then sort by. But before we do that, I'm going to look at this item above it, use groups. If you have the use groups turned on, then everything is grouped together like this.
We just saw this one last
When
week.
people have trouble sorting, one of the most common reasons is they don't realize that they have use groups turned on. And then they're using group by rather than sort by. So if you just want one long list of files and you want to sort them, make sure use groups is turned off. So with that off, let's go back to view and then sort by. And then we can sort by a variety of different things here. So we see the names of these 4 columns. There's name, there's last modified by, there's size, and there's also kind. And we can choose which one we want to sort by. The check mark will appear next to the one that we've chosen. There are also a variety of keyboard shortcuts you can use to quickly change your sorting order. So if I wanted to switch to, say, kind, I could do that. Now I could see the kind column is bolded right there instead of the name column. And if I look at the names, they're all over the place. But kind is actually sorted correctly. Let's close this folder up here so we're just looking at one level. And we can see all the folders are first. And then we have applications, JPEG images, Keynote, Microsoft. Notice how they are in an alphabetical order. So it makes sense. So I can go here to view and then sort by and say go back to name. And now things are sorted alphabetically by name. Notice here on the right side of whichever column is sorted is this little arrow pointing up. That means it's sorting in ascending order. In other words, A is first, Z is last.
Should we
Click right there and change that order. So now Z is.
Yeah, we saw this last week. I just looked in the list.
I apologize for that.
And it's a pretty long one too.
Yeah.
It is, and I was hoping that
Not only that, we've seen the next one last week also.
Really?
Really?
Okay. Hold on. Let me look at last week's list, the correct list. Oh, we got it screwed up this week.
Or did we?
I'm gonna look at last week's list. Hold on. I'm gonna pause the recording for a second. Where do I do that? Pause. Recording. Okay, that is pause. Okay, we're go.
And now we're going to see how to free up space on iCloud when you run out and are asked to by Apple to purchase some more to give you more space. So here we go.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. If your iCloud storage is almost full, let me show you how you can clear some space by moving some files from iCloud Drive. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 2,000 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So we're going to look at the situation here where your iCloud storage is almost full and you want to clear some of that space off. Now, of course, you could just buy more iCloud storage. But let's say you don't want to do that. Let's say you think you've got some things on there that you don't need to have in iCloud and you'd rather just move them elsewhere. So first, we're going to assume that you've got Optimize Mac storage turned off. In other words, everything that you've got on iCloud Drive, you've also got locally in iCloud Drive. It's syncing 1-to-1. So you can find that setting in System Settings under Apple ID and then look under iCloud and you'll see Optimize Mac storage there. So if you have that turned off, you're not just caching some of your iCloud Drive files locally, you've got all of them locally. It's syncing completely between iCloud Drive on your Mac and iCloud Drive in Apple's servers. So in that case, you've almost certainly got local files on your Mac storage. You've got some free space and you've also got your iCloud Drive files. On iCloud Drive, you've got all those iCloud Drive files, again, the same ones. Notice these are the same size. And you've got some free space, but not much left. So the idea is that you want more free space on iCloud Drive. Of course, you've got syncing going on between iCloud Drive on your Mac and iCloud Drive on the server. That's what that arrow in the middle does. So any changes you make to your files in iCloud Drive will sync to the server and vice versa. So now to reduce how much we're using in iCloud Drive on the server, we need to reduce how much we're using on iCloud Drive locally. So it's just simply a matter of moving some files from iCloud Drive locally into your local files out of iCloud Drive. So when we do that, what will happen is your iCloud Drive local storage will be reduced and local files will increase the same amount. You've just moved the files around on your Mac storage. Then when iCloud Drive syncs after the move, you'll find you're using less space on iCloud Drive. Let's look at how it works practically. So in the Finder, I'm going to open a Finder window here and I'm going to look at iCloud Drive. If you don't see it here on the left, you could always use Go and then iCloud Drive to get there as well. So this is everything I've got on iCloud Drive. And since I've got the Optimize Mac storage switch turned off, everything here, anything I add to here is going to sync to the server. I want to get things out of here. So where am I going to put them? I need to put them in local storage. Let's open up a new Finder window here. And in this window, I'm instead of iCloud going to go to my home folder. So I'm going to go to the home folder. The home folder is essentially all of your local folders. So here I've got some different folders and I can move files from here into here. But I don't want to put them at the top level of the home folder. I want to be neat and organized about it. I could put some things in folders like the Movies, Music, and Pictures folder. And that's a good idea. Say if you do have some videos you want to store, you may want to create a folder in the Movies folder and put them there. But you can also create your own folders here. And I've done so by creating a local documents folder. Now you can name this folder anything you want. I just happen to name it local documents. It makes sense to me. And you could certainly have more than one of these with different names depending how you organize. I just created one and in there I can move files and I can have subfolders, whatever I want to do. So in iCloud Drive here, I may want to go and say, go down to my documents folder, look at some folders here and decide that, oh, I want to move this folder here. Now, if I drop it in here, you can see it's going to give me a warning that it's removing it from iCloud Drive. And that's fine. It's exactly what I want to do. And then it will move it here. And now those files are stored here. They're off of iCloud Drive. And now after syncing, whatever space this folder took up will now be removed from the server as well, freeing up some space. So we can move other folders, other files, whatever we want, anything from iCloud Drive that we move to the home folder will remove things from the iCloud Drive storage and just put them on our local Mac drive. But you don't have to store things inside of your internal drive. You can also get an external drive. Matter of fact, this is ideal for files that you don't use very often anymore. Maybe in an old project that you've completed, you don't want to delete it forever, but you don't think you're going to need it anytime soon. So what you can do then is get an external drive, and you can attach this to your Mac and then do the same thing, but instead of moving from iCloud Drive to local files on the same Mac storage drive that you've got internally to your Mac, you can now move them to this external drive. And when you do, then you're going to save space and get more free space on Mac storage. And you're going to use some of the space, of course, on your external drive. Then after things sync, you'll save that space now on the server. So this is a way to remove things from iCloud Drive and not only get space back on iCloud Drive, but also get that space back on your local storage drive. And you've got these older files now tucked away on an archive drive, and hopefully you don't even need to have that archive drive attached to your Mac all the time. You could store it somewhere and only bring it out if you, for some reason, need to get access to these old files again. So the way this would look is instead of going to a place in my home folder, I would simply go to the external drive. And I've got one attached here, and I've got some folders set up here. I could set up more folders depending upon my needs. And then I could just drag and drop items like from my documents folder into that external drive. Now notice when I do that, I get the little green plus button there. That means it's going to make a copy of it. If I want to move it, I hold the command key down and you can see the plus button goes away. And then I move it here and you can see it's going to give me the same warning saying it's removing it from iCloud Drive. But that's fine because I'm moving it here. That's exactly what I want to do to clear off some space. Now let's look at one last situation, and that's if you have optimized Mac storage turned on. This is the case, chances are that you've got a very small hard drive on your Mac and you simply can't fit all of your iCloud Drive files on your Mac's local drive. So you're using iCloud Drive as a way to store more files than you actually have space for locally. And that's fine. That's exactly what optimized Mac storage is for. In this case, you've got your local iCloud Drive files, and notice that's much smaller than the iCloud Drive server files. There's a portion of it, I've labeled it iCloud only, that are files that only exist on Apple's iCloud servers. You see them locally, but they're just placeholder files. If you open one up, it's actually going to download it on demand and then open up the file. So your local stuff is just your recently accessed files and the files that you access often. So now here we definitely don't have the option to move some of those iCloud files to the home folder because we don't really have that much space on our local storage. We're definitely going to want to have an external drive here. And we're going to want to take files that we no longer need to access that often off of iCloud Drive, off of our Mac storage, and get them onto this external drive. So transferring them there at first won't seem to save us very much space because presumably we're moving files we don't need that often. So these probably aren't really cached locally. Moving them means it's going to download them from iCloud Drive, store them just temporarily locally, and then move them onto the external drive. And when we do, we'll save a little bit of space here on the local drive. Maybe some of them were cached. And we're going to fill up part of our external drive. And then when everything syncs, then we'll see the reduction, the equivalent amount that's on the external drive, but now removed from iCloud Drive on the server. So in that case, we save that space in our iCloud Drive storage, but perhaps only a little bit or maybe even nothing saved locally because these are probably files that we weren't accessing very often anyway. And note, because we're using optimized Mac storage, it may take a little bit more time for things to sync and for you to see the savings. But the end result should be that if, for instance, you remove 50 gigs of stuff from iCloud Drive and moved it to an external drive, then you should save 50 gigs of space on your iCloud Drive storage, but not necessarily 50 gigs or maybe not even any space locally. Now, of course, there's another option, and that's that you simply delete files. And this might be the case if you've got some files that you're absolutely sure you never need anymore. For instance, you may have a project where you downloaded a ton of graphics and only used a few out of that selection, and you're sure you don't need the rest, or you can get the rest from somewhere else if you need them in the future, and you could just delete them. You don't need your own copies. Or maybe you exported several versions of a video to see which one worked better for you, and you could just delete the versions that you didn't need anymore. So there are a lot of different cases where you can just delete files rather than archiving them if you're absolutely sure you don't want those files any longer. Now note that this is completely different than the opposite issue, where you've got very limited local space but plenty of iCloud Drive storage space. If that's the case, then all you need to do is turn on Optimize Mac Storage if you don't have it on already. You don't need to actually move things around at all. Just let the Optimize function figure out which files you use most of the time, how much space you've got locally, and it will figure out which files to cache locally and which files to only have on iCloud Drive. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching.
And that was that. And now it's time for questions. And later on, social hour. Any questions regarding to this last video we were just looking at? Anybody try
We're
to?
getting into this, or then we'll, any questions relating to this before we stop the recording and go to a social hour? Or Q&A. Q&A is next. Okay, you can stop your screen share.
Okay.
So we'll stop the recording and move to Q&A. And anybody who's watching this on YouTube, if you want to see the Q&A half of the meeting, you can get the link by logging into the BBS. And if you want to come to this meeting and participate in the Q&A, you can do so on Tuesday afternoons at 3 p.m. Okay, let me actually stop it.